Hello, everybody. My name is Nausheen Zaidi. I am a teacher at Westminster. I've been associated with the teaching profession from the past 13 years. I was the aptest Cambridge mentor at my campus in the City School International. Later, I was the section head of early years till grade 2 at Benchmark School System. I have the experience of teaching students of early years and primary levels. I've been associated with RELO Pakistan from the previous year. I've done my FOLT course from Michigan State University and was graded as the high achiever student of my batch. Today, I am presenting with Afshan Shahzadi, my co-presenter. Yes, Afshan.
Yes, assalamu alaikum everyone. This is me, Afshan Shahzadi. I am basically a lecturer in Ahmedabad University Science and Technology. I am also associated with RELO Pakistan since last couple of years. This is a simple introduction from my side.
All right, so let us start with the topic. Our topic today is creating a congenial learning environment for online primary students. Now, since the pandemic, the online teaching has suffered many challenges. The teachers were not ready when the pandemic started, and the children were not guided properly. The parents were not well aware of the tools of online teaching, and thus a lot of chaos was created in the online learning and teaching. This presentation today is designed keeping in mind all the challenges that are faced by the parents, the students, and the teachers. And this presentation is going to be very helpful for the curriculum designers and teachers, parents, and students as well. So I hope you'll have a nice time listening to our presentation. Okay, so we are going to start with a warm-up activity. This one is known as blockbusters. Now, when we talk about warm-up activity, it is very essential in online classes as well as face-to-face learning. Now, the warm-up activity is gives you a very smooth transition from one period to the other period. It's very difficult for the children to keep on sitting in front of the screen for the whole day and keep on studying the same things and in the same position. Thus, the warm-up activity actually energizes them and gives you a smooth transition, and it actually helps to wake up your entire class and then let them focus better on whatever topic you are teaching them. So this activity is blockbusters. This activity can be used for introducing an entire topic or revising an entire topic. And this kind of activity can be used in any subject, may it be mathematics, social studies, or science. You can revise the whole lesson by using this activity, and children wouldn't even know that they are actually reinforcing the concepts that were taught to them in the previous classes. So let's play the activity. The rules of the game are simple. You have to divide the class into two groups, that is red team and blue team. Now, you can see a grid on the screen. Each of the team has to get one color in each of the columns. So if it is the red team, they have to get one red box in one column each. Same goes for the blue team. And I'm going to be asking questions beginning from the letters that you can see on the grid. Whoever raises the hand first from any member of any team will be given the chance to speak first. You have to ensure when you are giving the rules of this game to the students that they have to raise their hands, and whoever gave the answer in the middle, his or her team marks would be reduced, would be given a minus point. So they'll be really quiet. This kind of game also creates patience in the students. So let us start this game. Just wanted to give you a brief introduction how this game is played. Now, while making the groups in the online class, it's very easy to make groups in face-to-face class, but when you're making the groups in the online class, one of the method is that you divide the class into girls and boys team if you have both the genders in your class. But if you do not have the equal number of ratio, or if you have an all boys class or only girls class, then what you can do is you can show them a slide like this, where they have their names written on blue and red box, they need to write down their team color, and then they have to participate accordingly. The teacher must make sure that she has this red card with her as well, so that she knows that not the wrong child is participating in the wrong team. Now let us begin the activity. Miss Afshan will carry out this activity and I shall color the boxes. Yes, Miss Afshan, would you like to start?
Okay, thank you, Ms. Nausheen. As Ms. Nausheen has told you the certain rules of this activity is very interesting. Keep in mind that it will also enhance the comprehension level of the students. Now, let me ask question one by one. Those who know the answer, they will raise their hands. The question one is, what is in other words to talk about the person or thing that does the action?
So I'm the red
Okay,
team.
anyone?
I'm the red team and
Okay,
I say subject.
Okay, yes, excellent. Subject. Now,
And
the second one is
my next letter that I'm going to choose, because I'm from the red team, would be letter W.
okay, W. Okay. What W was the first invention of man?
Okay, I'm the blue team and I say wheel.
Okay, good, excellent.
My
Now
next
the next
letter would
letter,
be Y.
Y. Okay, just let me find. Name a country that starts with Y.
I'm the red team and I say
Yes,
Yemen.
Yemen. Okay, good.
My next letter would
Now the
be
next letter,
P. P.
P. Okay. What P is another part of speech for replacing the nouns?
Okay, I'm the red team and I say pronouns.
Pronoun. Excellent.
So
Okay,
this is,
please, could you tell me?
yes, so I think the red team
Fine.
has already won, because the red team has got their color in each of the column. So this is how this game is played. So if the blue team would have been more participative, they would have, this activity would have gone longer. So this is how this activity is played, and it is an excellent way to revise an entire topic. We would now like to start with the objectives of today's presentation, which will be done by Ms. Afshan. Yes, Afshan.
Okay, objectives set the direction and one can easily achieve the target if he follows them. These are the objectives of the presentation. In online teaching, teacher, students, parents, all are involved at the same time. It is basically a triangle. And there are certain challenges which they all face during online teaching. And in this presentation, we will learn that how we can overcome these challenges. Now, the first objective is shortcomings in online teaching. The next one is difference between online and remote teaching, challenges of online learning from parents' perspective, challenges of online teaching, meeting the challenges, a course snapshot, ideas for engaging online integrated skills like listening, reading, speaking, and writing activities.
All right. So let's talk about the shortcomings in online teaching. Now, the first thing is that while delivering the lesson, the teacher who is delivering the lesson in an online class expects the students to behave in the same manner as they were behaving in the face-to-face class. And she is doing all the stuff in the same manner as she was doing in the face-to-face class. Usually the teachers have a board at the back on which they are writing, and they are expecting the students to copy everything that they are writing on the board. Some of the teachers write it down on the PowerPoint slides and ask students to copy all the things that they have written on the screen. Same goes for the students. The teacher is expecting that all of the things will be submitted in the same manner as it was done in the face-to-face class. That is, the students are writing down on the notebooks, and they are taking pictures of it, and then they are submitting the work to the teacher. Whereas in the face-to-face class, we know that there's a lot of interaction between the teachers and the students. The teacher is there in front of them. She can take rounds. She can see whether the child is understanding the concept or not, whether he's doing the work correctly or not. And whereas in the online class, the scenario is totally different. The child is sitting in front of a screen and you cannot see what he's doing, whether he has understood or not. It's also difficult for the teacher to ask each and every child whether they have grasped the concept or not. So the teacher has to understand that the scenario is totally different. Now, I would like Ma'am Afshan to read the next two challenges.
Okay, fine. Now, you all people know that in physical classes, we see that attention span of an average 9-year-old is about 35 to 40 minutes. But as compared to physical classes, in online classes, this time might be even less. Activities must be designed in a manner in which students' attention can be gauged. It is the duty of the teachers to design the activities in order to increase attention span in online classes.
All right. So now one thing that we all have to understand is that there is a difference. There's a huge difference between online and remote teaching. We as teachers need to understand this. Remote teaching occurs when the instructor transitions the delivery of an on-campus course to online. So this is the scenario in which I think all the teachers, especially I will include myself, we were in when we were told that now after the pandemic, we have to shift to the online classes. So there was nothing done, keeping in mind that the online scenario is different. So what an online course is, an online course has been purposely designed for online teaching using online learning design principles. So this online teaching actually and an online course keeps in mind all the challenges that occur during the online teaching and online learning. Whereas the remote teaching is that you are expecting the same things that you are doing in face-to-face teaching in an online class, which is totally not recommended. Let us move on. The challenges of online learning for parents. Now, when I asked these questions from a couple of parents, they told me, one of the mothers told me that it is very difficult for the mother to keep on sitting with, because we are talking about young learners, throughout the day with the child, ignoring all the house chores that she was doing and keep sitting with him, ask him to be attentive, stay focused. And she says that sometimes the teacher is not even explaining enough, so she has to explain it to the child. She has to make sure that the child is doing nice handwriting or not. And she says that like the mother I was talking to, she said, I have more than one children, so they are sitting in different rooms and taking their online classes, and I have to keep on running from room to room to see whether they are still taking the online classes or they are sleeping or they're doing something else. So she says that it is a disaster for me. The online classes are a complete disaster. Another thing that the parents pointed out was lack of motivation in online learners. The parents say that because the online lessons are not very engaging, there are no hands-on activities. So the students, they lose focus after 10 to 15 minutes. And then it's the job of the parents to, keep on asking them to keep on sitting in front of the screen for the whole day and listen to the boring lectures that the teachers are giving. And then obviously the technical difficulties that are arising from the students' end because they are not guided properly. And also because of the internet problems arising at the teacher's end. The next three challenges will be told by Ms. Afshan. Yes, Afshan?
Okay. From parents' perspective, in online classes, teachers can't measure the attention level of the primary level students. Basically, teachers focus on content rather than the attention span. Teachers are unable to deliver the lesson efficiently. And the next is teacher doesn't care if the child is listening or not because they only focus on the content what they are delivering. The online lessons are not planned keeping in mind the concentration span of the students.
So when we talk about the challenges of online teaching, and definitely from the teacher's perspective, so the teachers have their own point of view. The teachers say that the online lessons are very boring because the students are not responding, especially the young learners. The teachers say that we keep on calling the name of the child. Either the child is pretending that he cannot hear me, or the child is not even there on the seat. He is roaming around in the room and there's nobody to look after him. There is no parents guidance given to the child. There is no parental supervision. Then one of the other challenges that the teacher says that it's very difficult to assess the child in the online classes, because when she says that when we ask a question, we can hear the parents telling the answers to their child because they want their child to respond first to the teacher. So it's not the child who is speaking, it's you know actually the parent who is giving the answer. And then the teachers say that the assignments that are submitted online are mostly done by the parents, because the teacher says that we know that this child was not on this level when he was there in the face-to-face classes, but when the assignments are submitted in the online classes, the teachers say that they are completely in a different fashion. So they know that this work is not done by the child, and sometimes the teachers even complain that the handwriting is not even that of the child, which means that the parent has even written the work for the child. So it's very difficult. Assessment is a great challenge in online teaching. Yes, Afshan.
Next is
Okay, so the timetable is very strenuous. This is also something that the teachers complain a lot, that because of the strenuous timetable, they are unable to give their attention, and their energy level becomes zero by the end of the lesson. Taking consecutive 3 to 4 periods, it is impossible for the teacher to stay focused and keep herself in the same energy as she was in the first lesson. And definitely, because when we are having the face-to-face classes, the teachers are moving from class to class, and that gives the teacher a little bit room for refreshment. While in the online teaching, when the teacher is shifting from taking a 40-minute lesson in one class, and suddenly then she has to move on to the other class, it's very difficult for the teacher to maintain the same kind of energy. Yes, the last point, Ms. Afsha.
okay. It is not possible for the teacher to talk to each and every child during a 40-minute lesson, because they just focus on the content they are delivering in online classes. And those students who are active, they can make their online classes interactive. But the passive students are passive, they are not participating in online classes either.
Exactly. So now let's talk about how can we meet up with all these challenges. So I've taken 3 challenges. One, considering the students, that is, the concentration span of students is very less, what the parents were telling us. And then the second one is that mother running from room to room to check up on all the children. So this is from the parents' perspective. The third one is the strenuous timetable of the teachers. This is from the teacher's perspective. Now let's take these 3 challenges and let's talk about what the schools can do. Yes, Ms. Afshan.
Okay. We divide a subject into two lessons types: synchronous and asynchronous. Synchronous lessons are basically a live lessons, and these are more interactive as compared to the asynchronous. Asynchronous lesson in which we only record our lessons, and we upload our lessons, and students can listen and they can watch it. They cannot participate in these lessons.
Exactly. So we can have, for example, if we have the subject English, so we can divide it into synchronous and asynchronous lessons. And there could be 4 periods synchronous and 3 to 4 periods asynchronous. So this will reduce the timetable of the teacher. Instead of taking 8 periods in one class, she would now take only 4 periods online, and the rest of the 4 periods will be asynchronously done. And similarly, it will also, reduce the pressure on the parent who is running from room to room. Instead of now, the child, instead of taking the 8 lessons, he is now taking only 4 English lessons. So definitely the timetable will reduce now, and this would be better to to create more a concentration span of the students. So when the child will be sitting only for two to 2.5 hours in front of the screen instead of 5 long hours, the child will be more energetic and he will participate more interactively in the online lessons. Now, it's very important for the school to design a course snapshot and show it to the students, the parents, and the teachers. The course snapshot, Ms. Afshan is going to explain it to you.
Okay, yes, course snapshot is really helpful for teachers, parents, and school administration at the same time. There are certain apps, and if we use these apps, we can make our lectures more interactive and more effective. The technology used for this course will comprise the following: Microsoft Teams. It is basically applied for synchronous session. The next is Google Classroom. Formative tests from Google Forms. We can develop different formative tests, and we can assess our students by applying these things. Flipgrid is more focused on speaking activities and project submissions only. The next is Loom, and it is basically appropriate for asynchronous videos used only by the instructors. And the last one is H5P for creating interactive videos.
Exactly. So the course snapshot can be different for different schools. You can use different tools instead of Microsoft Teams. Zoom can be used. However, the other tools that I'm introducing today, they are going to be new for some people, and they are very engaging tools. So let's discuss each of them in little detail. Yes, Ms. Afshan, about the synchronous lessons.
Okay, as you know very well about synchronous lessons, that these are basically live lessons. Teachers can carry out different activities in order to make their lectures more effective. There are certain things like if they want to teach in English, basically grammar, vocabulary, writing activities, and reading activities. In order to make them make their smooth teaching, they can make different lessons, different forms on different apps.
Okay. So
Yes.
when the synchronous lessons are done, you have taught them grammar, vocabulary, writing activities, some of the reading activities as well. Plan for the asynchronous lesson. Now, dear audience, today we are going to pay more focus on the asynchronous lessons because I believe that the schools are not paying any heed to the asynchronous lessons, which are very important, and they can bring about a lot of change in the online teaching. So what we can do in the asynchronous lessons, the listening activities can be done beautifully in the asynchronous classes. And the speaking activities could be done very smoothly. So would be the reading activity. And we are going to show you how by using different tools, you can carry out all these activities in the asynchronous lessons. Now, let's talk about reading and writing activities. Now, when you're designing the reading and writing activities, Ms. Afsha, what do you think?
Okay. Okay. Yes. Reading and writing activities are very important in online classes. You know, reading relates with comprehension. Writing makes our students more creative. So both are very, very important. Before these are done, basically, these are basically before and after reading exercises which we can make. And give and one more thing, we should tell to our teachers, our students about the purpose of reading, that what they will basically learn from reading. You know, there are comprehension exercises. We can ask them different questions that will make them more creative and they can express their own ideas.
All right. So,
Yes.
an engaging writing activity can give readers a sense of ownership over their reading. So, whatever they have done, and once you give them a proper, writing activity that is totally related and totally dependent upon the reading that they have done, so this would give them an ownership that we have read, and now it's finally the time that I can express my ideas about what I've read. Now, it's very important in the online classes to plan certain activities that were done in face-to-face, but in a complete different manner. So what can be done? For a reading and writing activity, like when we were having the face-to-face classes, we used to plan some field trips. And after the field trips, the children were asked to write down whatever they have seen in the field trip and what were the experiences they have gained in that field trip. So in the online classes, we can do the same. And there are certain websites which are giving us a lot of room for getting out such activities. One of them is Farm Food 360. So if you want to make a field trip in a farm, use this website. There's another one for going to a zoo, which is sdzwildlifeexplorers.org. Another one for the museums, you can use naturalhistory.si.edu. All of these websites are extremely nice and they are very engaging for your students. They are going to feel very nice while having this experience, and they'll be able to put their ideas into words for the writing activities. Now, this is a little video that I would like to show you so that you can get an idea what sort of websites and what sort of videos do they have on their websites. Now, Farm Food 360 gives you a 360-degree view. So as you can see here on the top, this is a point where the child can click left or right, up and down, and can have the view of the complete farm the way he or she likes. So this, gives them the ownership that they are actually there. They can have a 360-degree view. So let's view this video to make sure what it actually is.
This is a 360-degree video. Feel free to look around by swiping left or right across your mobile device, or clicking and dragging on your desktop. Welcome to this Canadian beef feedlot. On this tour, you're going to have a chance to see what a beef feedlot farm in Canada really looks like. You'll learn what a feedlot is, where the beef cattle come from, what the cattle eat and drink, how they're cared for by the farmer, and more. Ready? Here we go. Raising cattle for beef in Canada has a few different stages. Cattle begin by spending the majority of the first year on pasture, eating a diet of mostly grass, hay, and minerals. When the cattle reach a certain weight, they're moved from the pasture to a feedlot. That's where we are now. A feedlot is a large enclosure or barn where the cattle are kept and where the feed is brought to them. Feedlots are an important stage of raising beef cattle in Canada because of how efficient.
Now you can see I'm moving my cursor to the right and I can see the complete farm. So we have cows on the left side and also on the right side. So this is actually this 360-degree view that is going to give the child a different sort of experience.
And sustainable. The cattle on this feedlot have come from other beef farms in Ontario, although larger feedlots can have animals come from all over Canada. When they arrive, each animal is weighed, vaccinated.
So this is how, the students will have a total different experience. They can see the hay, they can see what the, the roof is like. So you could ask them comprehension questions also if you want to. And especially when you are giving them something to write on, expressing how the farm looked like and what kind of animals were there. So it'll be really nice the way they are going to use, the different sort of adjectives and different adverbs to explain what they actually saw in the farm. Now, let's move on and let's go to the website as we talk about, which is loom.com, on which the teachers should make their videos. And why they should make it, Ms. Afshan is going to tell you.
Okay, by using this website, teachers can make more engaging lessons. Recording can be done by applying different frames. There are certain frames and there are multiple frames, and children like these frames. And they will show their interest in these lessons.
Yes, and I'm just going to show you how you can change the frames because I've made a video of myself narrating a lesson to the students. And let's see how does this frame that you can see on the left side right here, how does it, changes into a much bigger frame. And you can see this beautiful framing on the side. This can be changed according to your liking. So it's more colorful for the young learners, and it'll be more interactive as compared to the Zoom recording. So this video too will continue from where we stopped in the first video. Soon the only pirate left alive on board was the pirate who had begged for his release. That pirate would have gladly jumped overboard with his mates, only somehow his feet were stuck firmly in place. A young man who was obviously wealthy, only look at his garments, consented to be his wife. Believe it or not, Ariadne and Dionysus lived happily ever after. Now the story is over. Remember, I told you that you have an exercise to do. All right, so this is the exercise that you were supposed to do before listening to the story, and I hope you already have done this. So when you will be writing whatsoever you want to write, okay, like I'm just giving you an example, and then you'll click on the next button, and then you'll be now directed to the after reading exercise. Now the after reading exercise has some questions. There are 3 questions that you're supposed to answer. Remember, each question has 3 points except for the last one that carries 4 marks, because in this question you have to explain what is a myth. Remember, I asked you in the start of the video 1, and you have to tell whether this story was a myth or not. If you think it was a myth, you have to explain your answer. If you think it was not a myth and it was an actual true story, then you have to explain your answer as well. Now remember, there can't be a exactly right and an exactly wrong answer for this, because all right, so when planning the reading exercises, it's very important that in one lesson you can record your own you can record yourself while reading the entire lesson. Why? Because this particular lesson had a lot of Greek heroes names, and they had very different pronunciations. So instead of asking the child to do the complete reading by himself where he'll be pronouncing all the words wrong, it's better that you make a video of yourself reading the entire lesson in which you are pronouncing all those words, and then later on you can plan another reading activity in which they are reading all those words by themselves. So before reading and after reading exercises are a must. And while recording lessons, it's also very important that you show the students that how to attempt the before reading and the after reading exercises during the video. So it's easier for them to understand. So the instructions have to be very, very clear when you are recording the asynchronous lessons, so that you don't get any messages of the parents from your coordinator that they did not understand what the teacher wanted to ask in the video. So it has to be super clear. And even if you think that the parents are very cranky, so it's better that if you could write down all the instructions as well and you can show it to them. Now let's move on to the next slide. Here we have the reading activities on Google Forms. Yes, Miss Afshan?
Yes, these Google Forms are very, very interesting for the students. It develops their interest. Instead of opening notebooks, they can use these for forms for enhancing their comprehension level. So this is very interesting for.
And exactly, and instead of asking students to write down the answers on a notebook and then submitting and expecting the same things of the face-to-face lessons, it's better to design them on Google Forms. And when it's only the objective type of questions, you can get the marks right there and then. And even if you are planning to have one question that has in which they have to express their ideas, then you only have to check that particular question and give them marks. So the assessment would become really easy if you give them Google Forms for assessment. Now, let's talk about the website for listening activities. Now, this one is my favorite, and I learned this in my FOLT course from the Michigan State University. Now, h5p.org is actually a miracle for all the young learners and the teachers who are teaching the young learners. Why? This website is special because you can make some interactive videos in this website. Now, what are the interactive videos? I'm going to explain it to you. In these videos, you can add interactions inside the video. So when the child is listening to a listening exercise, during the listening exercise, you can plan the interactions and ask questions. So the basic aim of ours, which was to grab the attention of the students and to make them totally involved in your listening lesson, is going to be achieved with this website, and I'm going to show you how. So this is one of the lessons that I have made by using the Loom website, and the slides that you can see, I have made them on slidesgo.com. Let's see how I've added the interactions. This is what actually the child is seeing in his on his screen, and while seeing this on his screen, you can see how the child will the questions would appear, and he has to answer the questions to proceed the next thing in the video. Let's see. Sorry. Okay.
The Asian elephants, and are described as being shaped like the African continent. We all know the shape of the African continent. Now look at the shape of the elephant here in the picture, and look at the shape of the African continent. Do they match? Yes, they do. Whereas the ears of the Asian elephants are shaped like the Indian subcontinent. So here's the Asian elephant, and here's the Indian subcontinent. Well,
you can see this is how it will appear. The child has to click on the right answer, and then it will continue.
It looks quite similar. Now, there's another difference between the two. Now, both of them have a trunk. Now, every elephant has a trunk, but the African elephants have 2 fingers at the tip of their trunk. Yes, they have fingers at the tip of their trunk, with the help of which they can even peel a peanut, take the peanut out from the shell, throw away the shell, just like we do with our fingers. So the African elephants have 2 fingers at the tip of their trunk, whereas the Asian elephants have only 1. So this picture tells you all. The Asian elephant trunk has 1 finger, whereas the African elephant trunk has 2 fingers. Now the elephant.
Here you can see this is a fill in the missing word exercise. This will appear automatically. The child has to type in the answer and then check. They can see their result also.
Are constantly eating. Yes, not popcorns, but yes, a lot of grass, a lot of peanuts, and a lot of things that they like. So they need up to 150 kg of food per day. That's around 375 tins of baked beans, although half of this may leave the body undigested.
And now you can see, they can see how many answers they have scored right, and then attempt the worksheet. They just have to click on this link, and then they'll be directed to the worksheet that they have to do. So this is the worksheet. So you can see, in this manner, the child would not require the help of his parents, and you just have to guide them once, and they'll be able to do it all by themselves, because our young generation is very much tech savvy, much better than us. So they just need one-time guidance, and then they are fully equipped with all the knowledge. So in this manner, you are not going to face the complaints from the parents end, as the child will be able to do everything himself. And this would make your listening activity very, very engaging. Instead of having it in the synchronous session, you can have it now on the asynchronous class. And let's move on. Let's talk about the speaking activities. And for this, I've chosen the flip grid. Now, when the teacher is having about 25 students in her class, it's very difficult to, ask each and every child to listen at the same time. And when one child is speaking, the rest of the 24 have to listen. So this kind of thing is even difficult in face-to-face classes. And in the online classes, it becomes even difficult. Why? Because the concentration span is much low in the online classes. So for in Flipgrid, what you can do is that you can record your videos and then ask the children to record theirs, and then you can assess them while in asynchronously, and then give them their grades. Now, why is Flipgrid really important? Firstly, it can be linked with Teams, which it can be linked with Google Classroom, sorry. And it can also be linked with Teams. So whatever announcement you are going to make on Flipgrid, it will automatically go on Teams and on Google Classroom. So whatever platform you're using for your synchronous classes and for giving the information to the students, it will go on that platform. So what kind of speaking activities can we plan? Ms. Afshan is going to tell us.
Okay, as Ms. Nausheen told you about different apps, if you use such apps, you can make wonderful video. Now here it is one activity that is speaking activity. Speaking activities boost confidence, and they make more fluent to our students. They can make 1 minute video in which they can answer the following questions. There are 3 questions, and they can record their video by following different apps. The question asks, what is the name and age of your best friend? Where did you first meet him, her? And what is that one quality that you like the best in him or her? Okay, these are the questions they can keep in their minds, and they can record their video.
Yes, and I'm going to show you how I have done this and how the child has answered.
Hello students, how are you all? So this is going to be a speaking activity. I want you all to make a 1-minute video in which you will be telling me about your best friend. There are 3 questions that you need to answer. The first one, what's the name of your best friend and how old he or she is? Number
Zaidi. I am 11 years old. My best friend's name is Shahzadi. He is also 11 years old. We met in grade 3 and both of us were 8-year-olds. We love playing Fortnite.
So this is how you can plan the speaking activities, and you can give the students their grades, and it'll be very nice. And even if, somebody say that, they have written something in front of them and they're reading, so even that is fine. They are gaining fluency. They are getting to accuracy. As long as they are getting on to the right track, it's okay. Then we have the writing activities websites. Now, everybody know about worksheet, liveworksheet.com, and every teacher is using it. But the best way, I believe, to use the liveworksheet.com is that to design your own material on it. Because once you are designing your own material, so it is going to be perfectly synced with your lesson. So especially for the young learners, I'm talking about kindergarten, grade 1, and even nursery students, when you design certain worksheets in which the parent has to take out a print, and everybody does not have a printer at their home. So this again creates a lot of pressure on the parents' end, that they don't have a printer and you're asking them to print it, or you're asking them to write down the 2 columns, and then the child has to match them. So it's actually the work on the parents' end. So definitely they are going to be frustrated when they'll be given so much of work. So instead of that, you can design your own worksheets on liveworksheet.com. You can have match the 2 columns. You could have fill in the blanks. You could also have the comprehension questions. Now, this particular worksheet that you can see on my screen right now, I've designed it for my own lesson. That was Prophet Noah's Ark. And you can see how nicely a kindergartner or a grade 1 student can do it, and then submit it to you through your email address, and then you can very nicely assess them. There we go, 1 minute. So as you can see, this allows us to, this is actually what this is words and meaning. So this is a vocabulary development. The child is going to match the words with the pictures. The second question is designed for spellings. So they can type in the spellings and then submit them to you. You can carry on this activity asynchronously, also synchronously. So here the child just has to read this. These are the type of comprehension questions, drag and drop, something that the child can completely do by himself. So they do not need the help of the teacher, and then they can finish the worksheet and submit it by, either check their own answers or submit it to you by email, and you can assess them. Thus, the challenge of assessment, which was on the part of the teachers, can easily be taken care of using such kind of activities. Now, I would like to end my today's presentation by this famous quote from Mark Twain. The art of teaching is the art of assisting discovery. So our job as teachers is to make our lesson as much engaging as possible. We want to make our lessons so interactive that the child is fully engrossed and fully involved in the lesson. And for that, we do have to do a little bit of more work than we are doing right now. We have to be a little more competent. We need to be more aware of the new, technologies, so that our student is not facing the challenges what we are facing. And we have to make sure that whatever the child is learning, he is learning passively and also actively. So there are certain things which we cannot plan, and there are certain things that just because of your great planning, the child would be able to achieve and would be able to learn. So the art of teaching is the art of assisting discovery. So make sure that you are just assisting them and not fully telling them what to do, and you are just assisting their discovery. Thank you very much from Nausheen, Zaidi, and from Ms. Afshan Shahzadi, and I hope you enjoyed today's session, and I hope the session was helpful. Thank you very much.